Have you ever tried to make a dark pop track? Something like Tate McRae, Zayn, or even Jennie, and it just doesn't have that same edge? You've got the moody chords, maybe a breathy vocal, but it just doesn't have that polished, cinematic feel that the real records have. So you change the mood, darker chords, more reverb, maybe even a sadder vocal, and it just still doesn't work. Well, here's what took me way too long to figure out. The darkness you get in these records has almost nothing to do with the vocal or the vibe. It's in the foundation, the drums, the bass, and the space in between everything. Get those right, and the track sounds dark before the vocal even goes on. I've had my own work in this genre land placements on things like Fortnite and even a Shiseido commercial in France. So today I'm going to show you 7 techniques to help you achieve that dark pop sound so you can start using them in your own productions straight away. Let's dive in. Technique number 1, the dimensional 808. One of the biggest mistakes I see producers make when trying to achieve this sound, they start with one 808 and just leave it there. Maybe something like this. But these records have something else going on. The low end has character, weight, and personality. And you achieve that by adding a second color underneath, sitting at most an octave apart from the 808. Here it is with and without it in the track. And I've layered 2 respaces here, one's an octave above, and then one an octave below that. In most cases, to make these sit, you want to gradually blend them in with the 808, dial the cutoff to really contrast the colors, and add a high pass so it's not fighting the 808 at the root. You could also remove the fundamental in Serum. This just keeps it clean underneath. Last thing, blend this in with your kick. It's crucial to the low end feeling locked. For this, we're going to use some subtle side chaining. You can use any tool here, but I'm choosing Kickstart 2. Shape it around the kick itself and use the band to let some of those higher frequencies through, so the re still has presence. So that's a dimensional 808, weight, color, and movement all working together. But even with that low end locked, most dark pop tracks can still feel like there's something missing. And it's not something you add, it's how you build what's already there. Technique number 2, the ARP core hook. Most producers trying to fill out a dark pop track stack more on top, more pads, leads, and layers. But it's actually the opposite. I remember being at my publisher's studio for a session and I'd shown up without much. I pulled up some sounds and came across this pluck sound. I started playing some ideas with it on the keyboard and I just built the basses around it. And while I'd done this before without really thinking about it, that session's where I realized this small idea was carrying the whole song. Everything else was just supporting it. And that became what I call the core hook system. Instead of stacking pads and leads, you take a simple melodic idea, something sparse and plucky, and that becomes the core hook. One element doing all of the harmonic work while everything else stays out of the way. And there's a really great example of this in Sports Car. And notice at this part of the arrangement, there are no other pads or chords happening around it, just the bass and the rhythm. And this next example isn't strictly dark pop, but have a listen to Swim by BTS. You've got every element there from the 808 and Reese right to the ARP core hook. And lastly, you hear the same formula in It's Okay, I'm Okay by Tate McRae. But you can nail the bass and the hook and it can still sound like a demo because the drums give it away every time. And dark pop drums aren't built the way you might think. Technique number 3, drum layering and textures. Most producers, when the drums aren't hitting right, go hunting for a better sample. A producer friend of mine called this out in one of my tracks years ago and straight up said, your drums aren't hitting. And like everything else with production, I spent weeks obsessing over it until I figured it out. It wasn't about finding a better sample, it was about learning to stack the sounds I had correctly. For example, the snare in Sports Car starts with one foundational layer, and then different textures over the top. So firstly, an airy clap, then more of an organic clap that's been nudged to the right, then another pre-shifted clap panned hard left, and so you go from one foundational layer to the full stack. And the idea is that once you've got that foundational layer, you complement it with different colors and textures, similar to what we did with the 808s. And this is where you can be so creative and start coming up with your own drum sounds. But even with a heavy kit, the beat can still feel really flat. And it's not the drums, it's what's happening in the gaps between them. Technique number 4, incidental percussion. Most producers fill space with more drum hits, bigger sounds, and more layers on the main pattern. But that's not what's going on in these records. Incidental percussion is everything that lives in between those hits. Things like shakers, found sounds, and even more industrial type textures. And the idea is that you have a different tone and different texture to the main drums. It's a really small thing, but a big difference between a beat that sounds kind of flat and one that sounds three-dimensional. You hear a similar thing in the percussion with Jennie's Zayn. And that's the thing, most producers don't just have a sound selection problem. They have more of a placement problem where they keep reaching for more sounds, but not really knowing where and how to place them. And if that's where you're at, where your demos sound okay, but never really feel finished, book a free strategy call below and we'll find out exactly what's holding your music back. So the foundation's locked, but there's still something separating an average dark pop beat from one that sounds like a record, and it's in the harmony. Technique number 5, split synths. Most producers building dark pop chords do the obvious thing. Stack every note on a couple of synths and turn it up. Maybe something like this. It's there, but it's a little bit flat. All the notes are just kind of fighting for the same space. Instead of stacking all the notes of a chord on one sound, you split each note across different timbres. And you can be as creative as you want with this, but in this example, Just Keep Watching by Tate McRae, you can hear another synth outside of the chords playing one note, simply outlining the chord extensions, which are notes like sevenths and ninths outside of the triad. So here it is with and without. And you can definitely stem out the third and fifth, but this is just a really nice subtle way that you can add some depth to your chord progression. So everything so far has been the foundation, but there are 2 vocal moves that make a track unmistakably dark, and neither of them is the lead vocal. The first is a detail you've heard 100 times without noticing it. Technique number 6, vocal ear candy. Most producers, when they want the vocal to feel more interesting, double the lead or add a harmony, but that's not always what's going on in these records. It's these little details sitting around it, chopped and manipulated vocal samples. And you want to try and pitch and warp these until they almost sound like an instrument. You hear a lot of this stuff in some of Zayn's darker tracks, and although it's not on the original record, I added this very basic vocal chop. So a pretty classic Yeah sample, and I've just added a little bit of EQ, a bit of satin with the dry wet all the way up, just to give it that illusion that it's really tearing through the speakers. So here it is before satin, and then after. So a little bit of that tape saturation can add so much character. And then lastly, just a touch of Valhalla for a little bit of atmosphere. You hear the same thing with the vocal chops in Sports Car, simply outlining the chords. These tiny vocal elements are what can make a dark pop track feel crafted. Like every corner of the track has detail in it. But if you only take one thing from this video, make it the last one. Because this is the one move that does more for the darkness than everything else combined, and it happens right next to the lead vocal. Technique number 7, the distorted vocal. You'd think a lead vocal should sound clean and polished to sound professional. But for some dark pop tracks, it can be quite the opposite. Most producers either leave the vocal clean or try to process it to death, and honestly, neither really works. Try this. Duplicate the lead vocal and distort the copy. I'm going to use satin to saturate it and just make it really gritty. Then what you want to do is tuck it underneath the clean lead. And you barely hear it as a separate thing, but it can add so much aggression and character to the vocal. And the lead itself stayed clean the whole time. You didn't do any extra processing to the lead vocal, you simply added a darker version next to it. But here's the thing, every one of these techniques lives or dies by the details sitting on top, the ear candy. The tiny moments that make a track feel alive and crafted. And that's exactly what I break down in this video over here, go check it out.